Welcome back to another episode of the Project Baltimore Shit Fest, to where the state of Baltimore is in a deep state of its public education. The state of Maryland is under attack from all the scandals that we've ever talked about on this broadcast, from last season to more of this season. So with this in mind, each 6-minute segment we're going to play catch up with Project Baltimore, and we'll see what happens. Up first, remember Lawrence Smith? The English teacher who committed fraud and tax evasion? Now his sentence is up. Now his sentence is in. And what was he sentenced for? Here's Chris Papps.
Lawrence Smith, for years, has been a well-known figure in the Baltimore area.
That way! All right!
He's an 8-time state champion high school football coach.
I'm excited to be your child's 8th grade English language arts teacher here at Edgewood Middle School.
And former Hartford County Middle School English teacher.
We are good, movement.
But it's what he did during his time as a city school's police officer
Mr. Smith, do you have any comments you would like to make before sentencing?
that brought him to this federal courthouse in Baltimore.
Anything you'd like to say to the Baltimore City community, Hartford County communities?
Smith, on Wednesday, was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in federal prison for felony wire fraud and tax evasion.
Mr. Smith, you pleaded to wire fraud and income tax evasion. Do you have any statements that you want to make to the community?
Last October, he admitted to stealing $215,000 in overtime as a city school's police officer. The prosecution argued the judge needed to send a message to the community that Smith's actions cannot be tolerated. In sentencing Smith, District Judge Stephanie Gallagher said she had an obligation to protect the public trust.
FBI search at City School headquarters Wednesday.
Project Baltimore first reported on Smith nearly 4 years ago when the FBI began investigating payroll irregularities in city schools. In January 2023, Project Baltimore first exposed that Smith was logging police overtime when he appeared to not be working. We uncovered Facebook Live videos that showed Smith driving a boat on the Chesapeake Bay, coaching football, or on vacation when his overtime form said he was working. 8 months after Fox 45 aired that report, Smith was indicted, but our reporting was not over.
What are you going to tell your players?
Fox 45 learned in 2024, after Smith was arrested, Baltimore City Schools continued to pay him for nearly an entire year, even after he was accused of stealing more than $215,000 from taxpayers.
Who do you want to talk to? Anyone who would talk to me at this point.
At the time, district leadership refused to interview with Project Baltimore about Smith still being paid. But the school system said in a statement, per Maryland law, city schools reserves the right to recoup any compensation based on the outcome of this case. In this letter submitted to the court by city schools, the district requested Smith pay back more than $111,000 that city schools paid Smith while he was on paid administrative leave following his initial 2023 arrest.
Mr. Smith, do you have any comments you'd like to make about the judge's sentencing?
Smith is scheduled to report to prison on July 14th. After serving his sentence, he will spend 3 years on supervised release. The judge also ordered Smith to pay back the $215,000 in overtime he stole from Baltimore City schools and pay more than $61,000 in restitution to the IRS.
You have anything you'd like to say to your former players, former students?
I'm Chris Papst, and this is Project Baltimore.
I'm Chris Papst.
And here's some common sense for you guys. You know, like what Joker said back in Batman. Joker's crazy to take on Batman, but you cannot take on the IRS. You have to pay your taxes. If you don't pay your taxes, you can go to jail for tax evasion. That's why, we have to pay our taxes for our education. And yet, most people don't want to pay their taxes because no one wants to go to school. Avoid paying taxes. You can go to jail for that. Yes. We're not saying you don't have to pay your tax. We're not saying don't pay your taxes. What we're saying is you need to pay your taxes. Don't avoid the system. and then simply say you're just going to simply not pay your taxes and think you're going to just get away with it. That's not the way life works. You pay, when April 15 comes, you get your taxes in, you file your W-2s. That's life. Everyone's got to pay their fair share of taxes. And in this case, from this person right here, he got what he deserved. It should have been paying them back with community service. Safety vest, picking up trash. That's back in the old days. You wear a safety vest, you get your little grabber things, and you start picking up trash. Would it have been better? Hey, listen, Lamb, can I talk to you for a second? Go find Lawrence Smith and make him do some dishes to pay back that over $100,000 from the IRS. Oh, what? Now you're giving me double. Lamb, get the dishes ready. He's giving me double. Nancy Vera, go get your teachers union together. Make the mob happen. Put them in jail. That's just how it is. Bottom line here is this: don't avoid the system. Just pay your taxes and be honest. That's the whole bottom line here. How easy is it to create a new identity? Now, all this was before 9/11, but a U-Law investigation by Dateline would reveal the easy way. But states have been tough on it. But what's been going on since? Josh Meggins will explain when we return. Please stay with us. We're nearing halfway towards the 25th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. Here were the 5 ways to make this country safer. First thing is to vaccinate for smallpox, toughen visa border procedures, safeguard water supplies at your power plants, X-ray bags at airports, and tighten those ID checks. That brings us to tighten those checks. That's what we're talking about tonight. Tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to show you how easy it is to get a new identity from somebody. Like you committed a crime and you want a new identity. We're going to show you some people that can really do that for you. And we're also going to show you some states that have toughened up those laws. This was a year-long Dateline investigation back in 2001, and I think it's going to make you raise a lot of questions about who's being tough and who's just being lazy. Here's Josh Mankiewicz.
In the days following the attacks on New York and Washington, federal investigators launched a massive manhunt looking for anyone associated with the hijackers and their network of terror. And that investigation quickly led to this unlikely place. Not some shadowy underground, but a state government building in a quiet suburb of Washington, D.C. The reason? Police say some of the hijackers came here and contacted criminals working outside this DMV office in Virginia, and that they then used those criminal contacts to obtain real, valid driver's licenses and ID cards using false names. And it wasn't just here in Virginia. 13 of the 19 hijackers also had Florida licenses. In Florida, you don't even have to live there to get a license. Even foreign tourists staying just a few days can get one. There's no ID needed and no background check. And with those documents, investigators say, the terrorists were able to roam freely through the U.S. using ATM machines, shopping, and checking in at airports. That's brought out a major flaw in America's legal and financial systems, the driver's license. It was never meant to be a national identification card, but yet over the years, that's just what it's become. But as a year-long Dateline investigation reveals, in many states, getting a valid license under a false name is incredibly easy. And for criminals or terrorists, it's a passport to another life, one in which no one's looking for them, and they're free to do whatever they want.
The name you want.
Okay.
Any name.
Okay.
So
Tonight, we'll take you undercover, inside the world of driver's license fraud, inside a system that's full of holes, where trusted employees can be bought off to break the rules, and where hustlers who, with a few phony documents,
For my driver's license?
can set you up with new identities, all of them false, but all of them perfectly valid.
So what information do I need to get?
Name and date of birth.
For me?
Once they have that, they're able to establish a completely new identity and then take off and do all the criminal activities they desire to do.
Randy Naramore is chief of police in Huntington Park, California, south of Los Angeles. Veteran lawmen like Naramore have complained for years about this problem, but until now, almost no one was listening. Give me some idea of how a new identity makes life easier for a criminal.
If a person's wanted on a murder charge, he's able to obtain a new driver's license, a new identity. He could be stopped by law enforcement out in the field. They accept that driver's license, which is valid, but it's not the right person because no one's done anything to check it.
We know the hijackers hid in plain sight in the U.S. for months, and we know some had false identification and licenses. In fact, last month, the FBI released photos of all 19 hijacked suspects and asked for help in confirming their real names. It seems the terrorists discovered a security loophole that homegrown criminals have used for a long time.
With a clean license, you can go anywhere in the United States you want.
This man is a former major drug dealer in Arizona. He says new licenses and fresh identities allowed him to stay in business, even as police were hunting for the old him.
If I got pulled over, I didn't have to get in a shootout. I could just show them my driver's license and be on my way, get a ticket and be on my way.
Did you ever get pulled over?
Yes, several times.
And you handed the cop that
And
license?
every time I handed the cop the license and he wished me well and sent me on my way.
And he had no idea who you were?
Not a clue.
And once police sent him on his way, he went straight back to work. Besides staying out of trouble with the police, what do you use that license for?
I got a social security number, credit cards, birth certificates, basically to do anything I wanted to do. I mean, I could run for office. Anything I wanted to do. I mean, I was reborn, so to speak.
So, how does it all work? Can driver's license fraud really be that easy? Beginning last year, we went undercover to find out. Ex-police informants with connections to Colombian drug traffickers introduced Dateline to this man. He says he runs a driving school, and business must be good. You can usually find him outside several California DMV offices with his driving school car, an expensive white Mercedes. Our informants say he regularly helps drug contacts get new valid California driver's licenses and new identities, so the drug business can continue uninterrupted by inconveniences like being arrested and hauled off to jail. And as soon as we showed him our wallet, he agreed to help us.
All the information and make it.
Okay.
And give me the money.
Okay. How much
He
is it?
contacts one of his driving instructors who will take us through the process. We meet him outside a DMV office south of Los Angeles.
I just want a California driver's
Oh,
license.
you have a
No, I want one.
You want one?
Yeah, I want one.
Let's get out of the
Our producer, a young woman, says she's looking for a license with no hassles and no questions asked. But he did have
Yeah.
one question for us.
Yeah.
Are you a cop?
Am I a cop? No. Are you a cop?
No way, Jose. No.
With that cleared up, he tells us that for $1,500, he'll get us what we need. We invent with him some phony personal statistics that will come in handy later inside the DMV.
What we have to do is we have to change your date of birth.
Okay.
Give me the date of birth that is not in the computer.
March 21st.
Give me the address that is not in the computer.
Okay.
Okay? Ready?
1701.
As we go through our DMV visit, you'll see some gaps in the system. Points where a well-placed payoff or just sloppy procedures leave the process open to fraud by anyone, including terrorists.
I'm applying for my license?
The first security breach. Our contact gives us a stolen social security number to help build our new fake identity. We hand it in with our papers, and no one at the DMV bothers to check it. Every state in the nation requires U.S. citizens to present a Social Security number when applying for a driver's license. But fewer than half the states actually check that number to make sure it's yours, to make sure you are who you say you are. And so in a lot of places, criminals or terrorists are free to do what our contacts did. Take someone else's Social Security number, add a different name to it, and start down the road to a whole new identity. We check the Social Security number later and find out that it actually belongs to a middle-aged doctor in Florida, not a young woman in California.
Okay, right there, when you're ready.
Pardon me?
Right there, when you're ready.
Another point where security falters. DMV workers take our thumbprint as part of the application. This could be a problem, since our staffer already has a California license, and so already has her thumbprint on record. But it turns out that in California, these thumbprints are taken, and then nothing is done with them. They're not entered into a database. They're not cross-checked. They are simply kept on file. A third security problem. We don't yet have a birth certificate. Our guide still has to create that for us with the phony stats we invented out in the parking lot. But he tells us the DMV will let us slide for today. And he's right. They do.
No, I didn't know how to bring anything. Can I bring it back when I come back from my driver's test? Do I just bring it back when I take my test? Can I do that? Okay. Okay.
A fourth breach of security. Throughout this whole process, our contact is there in the office with us every step of the way. And no DMV agent seems to bat an eye. And if all that weren't bad enough, there is this. When it's time to take the written test, we don't. A security guard who our contact says has been paid off lets us slip out of the testing area. Outside, we wait while our contact takes the test for us. The security guard then comes out to say it's clear to sneak us back in, and we slip into the testing area through a side door. And we pass.
Thank you.
So, with no birth certificate, with a stolen Social Security number, and without even taking the written test ourselves, we get a California learner's permit.
That anyway, what's this?
That's the birth certificate.
Oh my gosh.
We meet again weeks later. Our guide now has our fake birth certificate. We check it and find it's printed on a real birth certificate form. Either old information was erased and our new staff typed over them, or the form could have been stolen by contacts inside the LA County Records Office. Another possible security breach. We then go for our driver's test. This is one part of the process that's legit.
Emergency brake, show me arm segment.
Left, right, stop.
Okay.
And we pass. A DMV agent walks us back inside and, with our fake birth certificate in hand, we get our temporary license. And then a few weeks later, in the mail, we get this. A brand new, permanent California driver's license. It has special holograms printed on it to foil counterfeiters. But we don't need a counterfeit because we just got the real thing, like some of the hijackers apparently did in other states, using a fake name, a phony address, a bogus birth certificate, and a stolen Social Security number. The system didn't even blink.
I have a California DL number.
We even take the license back to Police Chief Randy Naramore and have one of his officers run a check on it. Our license comes up clean and valid. So if you ran into this driver and she gave you this license, you hand it back to her and say,
Checked okay.
after a few weeks, back in 2000, we got that. A real California driver's license. We also took our license to Stephen Gorley, Director of California's Department of Motor Vehicles. How can that happen so easily?
How can that happen? There are any number of ways that people want to defeat the system can try to do it. We have put in as many safeguards as we possibly can. We know that from the very beginning that we are the front line against identity theft and identity fraud, and we take it very seriously.
How big a business has that been, do you think?
In California, I consider it probably a larger business than any of us would want.
A few months after we began our investigation, California lawmakers here in Sacramento instituted some sweeping reforms. Chief among them, the state will now do a computer check on every Social Security number that's submitted on an application for a California driver's license. The idea was to put the guys we've been doing business with out of business. But will it work? 15 states now do instant checks of Social Security numbers right there at the DMV counter as you apply for your license. They can tell if you and your number don't match. California does those checks later, in batches. It costs less money to do it that way. And 32 states still don't do any check at all. How's the system changed since then?
Well, if you give us a phony Social Security number, you will not get a driver's license.
How would you describe the system now? Secure? Better?
Much better.
Does that mean our bad guys are out of business? We weren't so sure, so we went back undercover to see if these tough new laws fixed a system that provides cover to crime and terror.
So, is it fixed or is it not? Are they getting away with it or have they been caught? When we come back, the conclusion of Josh Mankiewicz's investigation into driver's license fraud. You may be shaken, you may be angry about this, and you also may be angry that your driver's license and your social security number were stolen if you live in the state of California or any other state. But try to calm down here, and please stay with us. Returning now to our story. If you've been getting phony, if you've been trying to get phony driver's license, phony birth certificates, and phony social security numbers, you may be out of luck, or you may get people like me and Alyssa Lamb making you do some dishes while you're sitting in jail getting raped. But in all seriousness, your driver's license fraud is really not a joke. It can really happen to you. Someone could steal your identity, steal your credit cards, steal your identity, and then go on a whole new life if you're not careful. So, during this jail investigation, California has changed. But has it really changed? Are those criminals out of business? Or are they still getting away with it like my old school friend who used to pick on me? Once again, Josh Mankiewicz.
Yeah, I'm applying for my driver's license.
It was easy for us last year to get a valid California driver's license using a phony name. But this year, California cracked down. Along with some other states, it now runs checks on Social Security numbers with the hope of cutting down on fraud. Stephen Gorley runs California's Department of Motor Vehicles. Once you started checking Social Security numbers, you think you're better off now?
Absolutely.
We went back undercover to see how the new laws were working, to see if our criminals were still in business. And they were. Our main contact was still parked out there in front of a DMV office in his Mercedes. And the process kicked off like clockwork, all over again.
How are you doing?
We're put in touch with another so-called driving instructor. And this time, he's offering better service. Now, our contact tells us, getting our license won't even require that pesky driving test.
So we will not be that sign there inside? You will not make the computer. Like you go to the DMV and take the test. You don't need to go.
And it's more than just the driving test. Those new checks California's doing on Social Security numbers, our contact says not to worry. His insiders will fix that too.
So because those guys, they're doing everyday license. Every single day.
But I was told they're checking the Social Security number now, and they say, they look and they say,
they know how to work.
oh, your people inside. Okay.
The laws may have gotten tougher, but our contacts have become more resourceful, which may account for another difference we find. The price has gone up.
$2,300 total, right? So I need to give you 18.
The old license cost us $1,500. The new one, $2,300. Once again, we're taken to a DMV office where we're given yet another phony birth certificate bearing another phony name. And again, it's on that real paper, most likely stolen right from the LA County Records Office. But this one worries us, because you can see the printing is crooked. We're sure we'll get caught, but the DMV agent lets it go through. One possible reason for that, DMV investigators tell us crooked printing is actually a regular problem with one of the machines at LA County Records. So DMV agents may be used to sometimes seeing a valid document that only looks bad. But investigators admit that's also another sign that these birth certificate papers are the genuine article.
Now, where do I go?
We give California another thumbprint, making a total of 3 that our producer has on record. But once again, there's no cross-checking of prints. And we present our new application with our new stolen Social Security number, and just as before, nothing happens. Remember, California does check these numbers now, but much later, in batches. And as you'll see, that can take a long time. Then, at the end of our process, as our guide predicted, we don't even take our driving test.
Hi.
Weeks later, when it's time to deliver our final payment, we argue because we haven't gotten our license yet. Our contact tells us not to worry, saying he and his group are professionals.
I know. I'm just worried, like I said. I mean, I've paid a lot of money.
I have people from Russia, Armenia, from Israel, the same way.
And sure enough, we do get our temporary license, good for 2 months. This would not have been sent to us unless DMV records show we took and passed a driving test, which we didn't. Someone on the inside fixed it to look that way. But 8 weeks later, still no permanent license. A DMV agent tells us over the phone that either there's a problem with our Social Security number, or it's just taking a long time for that central computer check. So the department issues us another 2-month temporary license. Those guys are still in business that we talked to. Since the rules changed, since you started going over Social Security numbers, we went back to them and we got 2 different temporary licenses, each good for a couple of months.
Okay.
So you've been doing this for about a year, and these guys have figured out a way to beat the new system.
Okay. Want to tell me how they did it so I can stop them?
So we played some of our undercover tape for Director Gorley, our contact telling us he can make payoffs inside the DMV, so we wouldn't have to take a driving test.
You want to pay that sign there inside? You want to make the computer?
They're paying off the examiner.
Well, that's what he claims.
How could he do it if he didn't have somebody on the inside?
I don't know.
And then our contact insisting he can also get around the new Social Security checks.
They don't have to wait.
Did you back up far enough to get his license plate number so that we can run it?
This is not about getting you to arrest this particular guy.
I understand.
I mean, this guy's a representative of a business that's out there.
I understand that.
It was there before you guys started checking the Social Security numbers, and it's there now.
This is an ongoing battle. If they found ways to get around our system, if they found weak employees, we need to know about that, and we need to go after them.
Gorley has instituted several programs to crack down on insider bribery, internal investigations, spot checks at DMV offices. But with so many low-paid employees, bribery remains a key security problem.
The first entry-level frontline people are making about $20,000 to $21,000 a year.
So when somebody comes to them and says, here's an extra $100, an extra $200 for walking my friend through the process, those people are extremely susceptible to a bribe.
They can be, yes. But we're extremely pleased with the quality of our employees and the dedication they have.
And yet, you know, some of them are on the take.
I don't know that. I find out that some might be on the take, and we investigate, and everyone that has been brought to my attention during my tenure here at the Department of Motor Vehicles has been terminated or allowed to leave with prejudice to never serving in state service again.
A week after our interview, the DMV calls to tell us that our phony Social Security number has indeed been caught by their computer check, meaning no permanent license for us. Is that because the system worked or because we tipped our hand? In any case, we did get temporary licenses good for 4 months. A long time if you're looking for a free ride. Director Gourley says that computer check takes so long partially because of federal concerns about invading the privacy of your Social Security number.
Right down the road.
And he says California's own privacy laws prevent him from cross-checking all those thumbprints his agency collects.
The DMV cannot share it for finding out whether the guy was a rapist or an international terrorist or stealing identities, or it could only be for vehicle code violations.
If I've been convicted of a crime somewhere, if my prints were at some murder scene, that doesn't catch me?
They probably won't, no.
Gourley and the other DMV directors say the only way to permanently stop fraud, especially by insiders, is to put those thumbprints right on driver's licenses. It's the one component of your ID that can't be faked. And then coordinate those prints with police, the FBI, and other agencies. But that won't happen, Gourley says, without some cooperation from outside California. DMV chiefs and law enforcement agents we spoke with say the answers now need to come from Washington. Lawmakers need to strike a new balance between security and privacy. And that won't be easy, because large federal agencies like the Social Security Administration have long guarded their turf, unwilling to share information. Now, in the wake of September 11th, that uncooperative bureaucratic culture may need to change as well. We tried to speak with officials at Justice, Transportation, and Social Security about these issues, but all said they were busy dealing with the new reality after September 11th and could not talk with us. And part of that new world is about how to stop identity fraud. Something that once seemed only police knew about is now something the whole country knows about.
It's time to start paying attention to what the states have been saying about the security of identity in the United States.
Well, it strikes me that in a kind of a sad way, those hijackers did you guys a big favor. I mean, they brought this issue to a place where nobody in Washington's going to be able to ignore it anymore.
I would rather have gotten their attention in a different way.
Right after the attacks of September 11th, Virginia closed the loophole that allowed some of the hijackers to get phony IDs there. Other states have also begun looking at ways to make it harder to get a driver's license with false information. For instance, Massachusetts is considering a special training program to help DMV employees better spot counterfeit documents. And starting next month, New York will use a new software program that allows supervisors to get into any DMV employee's computer and monitor the paperwork process.
It's all about stricter laws. That's what it's all about. But no, nobody wants to do it because it's like back then you get like a fake ID and all of a sudden, you're off to the movies. You start a new identity. You are a drug dealer. You are an abuser. You are a wife beater. Those people that are still in business, we gotta make them wash some dishes. Lamb, get the dishes ready. Those people that were in Dateline, those people that sold Dateline fake IDs, make them do some dishes. Oh my God, another visit from Lamb coming up, and she'll laugh. She's gonna laugh her ass off about this. Take a break. We're back in a moment. I always take the show very seriously, but to joke around, if I was one of those guys behind the cover and I caught them, it's like a little mustache, like the Barbara Waters wig. Like the Mad TV, Dr. Phil had a Barbara Waters wig and interviewing the Spears family. And Walters, you're much taller in person. Taller and angrier. Thanks. I got y'all. You're my chicken coop now, Spears family. Well, you know what would have been very cool? Me going undercover as myself, without the red and blue. But I'm without the hat and glasses. People thinking in Corpus, I'm famous Corpus Christi. You probably don't get this, but let me show you how. I would like a fake driver. I want to get a new driver's license, new identity. I can do that for you. Before you do, there's something I need to show you. What? I got you now, motherfucker! It's me, Morgan Waldron, bitch! I got you now, bitches! Officers, move in! Go, 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 go! You're under arrest for fake IDs! You have the right to remain silent! Anything you say can't be used against you in the court of law! You have the right to a lawyer! If you cannot afford a lawyer, want me to appoint it for you! Do you understand these rights that have been addressed to you? Yes, sir. Let's keep it moving, boys! Let's get it moving! Yeah, you were caught by Morgan Waldron, bitch! Yeah, that's right, bitch. You have to think twice before that. Then you guys will think twice before taking somebody else's identity, bitch. You try doing that in jail, bitch. Yeah, keep it moving, bitch. Yeah, that's right, bitch. What was that? Keep it going, bitch. You're my chin coop now, bitch. Don't say 2 cuss words! You said 76 of them! They said I was still on DVD. Well, did you steal it? But in all seriousness, you know, we don't need this shit happening again. Because otherwise, someone can steal your identity. I would have gone trick-or-treating. Those hijackers would have gone trick-or-treating. I would have put some mashed potatoes in the bag. Here's some mashed potatoes. Here's some meatloaf. I got some veggies for you. Open your bag. Open your motherfucking bag. I'll throw it on your soup. I'll throw it. Don't you run. Don't you run. I swear to God, I'll throw it. Making mashed potatoes. Oh my goodness. I mean, I haven't gotten 1,000 views from my AI videos, but I try not to make this shit look too funny. But you know, we do take things very seriously here. The bottom line here is this: if your identity has been stolen, contact somebody. Find out who stole it, and maybe then you will get your identity back and you'll have a new life. That's all for This Is Game Break Saturday. We'll see you again next Saturday or maybe next Friday, depending on one of the two. I don't know, maybe Friday or Saturday, maybe Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, maybe Wednesday and Friday, or 4 nights or 3 nights. I don't care. I'll see you when I see you guys. What was your YouTube and Give Me a Break? Stop bullying, speak up, concentration, not strength. No jaywalking, and as always from y'all, take care of yourself and each other. Have a safe night. And yes, safety. Safety is made simple. Have a good night.